Welcome to my session on LinkedIn marketing. I am Suchi Gupta, founder and creative director of Pure Design Solution, a digital marketing agency based in Dallas, Texas. In this session, I talk about 5 key elements that business entrepreneurs can use to power up their leads channel through LinkedIn. So, why LinkedIn? I think one of the things that I have to say is that LinkedIn is by far one of the most stable B2B marketing platforms. If we look at the numbers, LinkedIn has a huge monthly active user base, and out of that, 40% of the users come on LinkedIn on day-to-day basis. So it's a huge amount of audience actively engaged and ready to adopt or hear about what you have to say. Another thing is that if we talk about B2B marketers trying to plan their digital marketing, 92% of the marketers are using LinkedIn in their marketing mix. So that's a big number and it's growing. Um, Also, another important number to see is when we talk about any kind of an online campaign, we also want to address that how much traffic is it generating and bringing it to our properties, whether it is a website or a mobile app and so on. So if you go to an analytical, your Google Analytics for a website, for instance, you will see under social media, LinkedIn is generating a lot of traffic if you are posting content, whether it's for blogs or updates, those kind of things. I think above all, the most important thing to remember here is that LinkedIn brings 277% more effective and good quality leads if we compare to Facebook or Twitter or other social channels. And it also talks about the seriousness of the channel itself, the quality of leads that you get. In my experience, mostly when we kickstart a Facebook campaign, compared to people, the kind of quality leads that we get in the first month on Facebook compared to what we get from LinkedIn is widely different. And the quality and the ability to nurture those leads and to convert them to customers, the probability is much higher. So definitely LinkedIn, in terms of quality leads, stands higher as compared to Facebook and Twitter. I want to break this session out in a way that what are those 5 things, 5 key elements that businesses can adopt right away to improve their networking, relationship building, and their profile visibility on LinkedIn. So this session is actually based on these 5 key elements that I talk about. The first and foremost key element is your focus on your professional LinkedIn profile. Work on it. I know you must have read it. I've read it and researched over 10, 15 different LinkedIn experts, be it Neil Patel or Ryan Stewart. Everybody talks about LinkedIn profiles. They are important. When you update your LinkedIn profile, you can actually see your visibility increase in a matter of weeks. And I think this should be the first step. So fix your banner, image, and title on your profile tab. I have an advanced LinkedIn profile, and a lot of visitors come on my LinkedIn profile on a weekly basis. And the first 3 things that anybody sees in your profile is your close-up shot, it's your title, and it's your real estate space. So talking about what kind of a profile image to use. One of the recommendations that I have is try to use your most current picture. I've seen a lot of profile pictures with beer mugs and cigarettes and all those things. Pretty cool, no doubt in that. But I think they may not be the right professional image you want to put forward. So having a front headshot, slightly professionally done, that's the way to go. The other area to use very effectively is rebrand the banner behind your profile. It's a realistic to show your capability, your business USB, Or even I use it very effectively for all of my campaigns. Whenever there's a campaign going on, I'll always have a banner up there to bring people in to what's happening. So great real estate space for people to use. The other thing are the keywords in your title. So we have to understand one thing. LinkedIn's algorithm, the search algorithm, still works the way Google used to work in 2010 or even earlier. So it still is based on exact word phrase match. What it means, if somebody is searching for a key term, digital marketing director, LinkedIn is going to match the exact search criteria to the titles that it finds in its reservoir and give the search results based on that. So it's the exact search match on LinkedIn. So bringing those key terms on which you want to show up to the prospects is very beneficial. So think about bringing the right titles in your profile. So another area to focus on is the about section. So when you look at your profile, and I think that's where a business profile should differ from a job seeker's profile. When a person is out seeking for a job, he can list all his experiences or all about what he's done so far, right? But for a business owner, use the space to list your products and services. Like, for example, on the left side, there's an example where the person has used how they bring value to their clients. So it's like a capability statement listed under the about section. Or on the right, she's a WBE and she lists all her products and services under this section. The next thing in your profile that you can bring right away are your presentations, media, company brochures, anything that you can put forward to, because we as individuals like to play around with visual imagery, anything that we can click and expand and read more about. It just makes your profile a lot more interactive. Another good place to bring the media or upload a video or your company brochure is under the featured section. Great place to utilize that real estate on LinkedIn. The fourth thing, and I see a lot of my clients shying away from it, is ask for endorsements. Please, please, please don't shy away. Go out there and do ask your clients or your people who you've worked in the past if they can write or give an endorsement on LinkedIn, because it is a credibility vote right there and then. And people like Neil Patel have over 27 endorsements, which is great and awesome. Yeah, so great area to use that. The second key element in creating a powerful LinkedIn marketing campaign always is content. I think I have to say this, content is the king for pretty much all social media campaigns. And it's the chemistry between the content and the visuals that brings the right engagement. I think the focus on content for LinkedIn is also because we need to remember that LinkedIn algorithm works on a key element called engagement. The more engagement you're able to generate out of it, the higher your visibility will remain and your post remains viral. LinkedIn is one of the very few channels that keeps your content current even after 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so on. And I'll tell you the reason for that. I would like to showcase an algorithm, and it's pretty much available across the internet. It kind of shows how LinkedIn's algorithm works, bringing your focus on the green line. So once the content is created, it is sent for in LinkedIn algorithm to score. And if the quality score is cleared, it is green light, it travels down to be displayed. And so once it gets and it's displayed, this is when you post an update and it's instantly displayed. But it's the algorithm that has passed the content and it's let you display it. And after that, your algorithm is actually watching your content. It is tracking the likes, views, engagements that your content is pulling. And if it sees a lot more content pulling the engagement, it's going to clear it to go further where to a trigger saying, is the content good? And if the trigger is said yes, it travels back to continue displaying. So it's a cycle, it seems, that keeps happening on LinkedIn to allow your content to stay viral and on top of the post as over the period of time. I think it's very rightly said by Pete Davis, who's LinkedIn Senior Director of Product Management. People you know talking about the things you care about is the way that LinkedIn algorithm prioritize and creates virality around your connections. And surprisingly, in last 2 years, the virality on LinkedIn has increased by 50%. So there is more chance of getting engagement and keeping your post and content relevant over a longer period of time compared to other channels on LinkedIn. But before you start creating content, there are certain things you can actually do on your LinkedIn profile so that when you do an update, it's headed towards virality. So first thing is, when you are posting the content, make sure you are uploading it directly on LinkedIn. For example, a blog, you've written a blog and you right away share it on LinkedIn. But what happens is it comes as an external link versus if you were to upload an image directly on LinkedIn and create a LinkedIn dedicated link. So that way, LinkedIn will give a lot more weightage to that compared to your own embedded link. If you are embedding a third-party link, I would advise you to do it under the comment box. Set your profile on public. When you set your profile on public, it allows people to definitely see your updates, not only your network, but also their network and so on. So the drip thing starts happening. It starts trickling down. Another way, a cool way of doing this is, which we use a lot in practice, when you do an update or when you post something on LinkedIn, try to copy the URL and use other sites, whether it is Facebook or even LinkedIn groups, to repost it again and again so that there is more virality around it. More eyeballs means more engagement, more likes, and that triggers the algorithm to keep your content relevant. Another thing about the content when you are developing, I think this is more of on the tip side, create a hook. Create a hook when you're writing a content. That brings people in and that helps them to respond. For example, ask a question, state a data point. An example on the right side of my screen says 92% organizations report satisfaction with their big data. By giving a data point, it just allows people to, it attracts their attention a lot more. And then you can definitely talk about the pros and cons, whether you're in favor of it or you don't, you object with that number. But a great way to bring people's attention. I recently also came across a wonderful post wherein the author had posted a questionnaire on doing a social intelligence index. It was a question, what is your SSI index? And it made me ask myself, should I go ahead and do it? So it's those kind of hooks that make you do things out of unusual. So I would strongly recommend such a thing. Another great example of building content is sharing a personal moment. And I believe that is one of the hardest, but it is something that brings more trust value and a better connection with your audience. So highly recommend that as well. So creating a hook with your content is a great way to excite people to respond to your content. But definitely it is the visuals as well. I think visuals have still have a great impact on the content that you create and upload. Another new thing that I'm seeing, and you might be also seeing across, is writing an all text long post for high visibility. So I see wonderful post wherein it's all content. People are just talking about the value that they have received from certain activity they've done, or just the experience they've had, and no imagery. It's still pulling a lot of viewership. Look at the post on the right. This post has picked up close to 12,000, approximately 12,000 views, and that's huge. And it's been not even a week old post. So a lot of long text posts, and tagging people who are relevant with your post, and just make sure that you're tagging the right people, just increases the visibility of the post, brings more people to comment, share, those kind of things. Great example. And I see a lot of B2B marketers adopting this technique. Moving on to the third key element. Once you have your profile well aligned, and you have the basic levers of building content, I think it's the next big thing on LinkedIn is to create contacts, to create a network of contacts, because this is the first step to spark a conversation that would lead to a relationship. So that's why building a network of contacts on LinkedIn is critical. And even with the basic profile, you can do that. Even if you do not have a paid subscription, you are on a basic LinkedIn profile. So again, coming back to the advanced search feature and how to use it, it is part of the search tab right here. And the minute you sign into the search tab, go to the advanced section and apply certain filters. One of the things that I like to do is select second level connections. Why I focus on second level connections is because the probability of the person you're connecting with becomes higher. The person you're trying to connect with has a level of person who knows you, the first level. It's like striking the right balance so that you're able to get the right kind of search results with people who you want to connect with. Locations is again a great criteria to select. It can even drill down to all the way region. Again, my suggestion is don't tighten your criteria too much, because then you may miss out on certain connections. I do like to focus on industry because it's always good to hone down a couple of industries to begin with your search. And another area that I really like to play with is the title, the kind of people in the organization you want to connect with. You may not want to connect with salesperson, or you may want to connect with a finance person, or a director or a partner level. So filling the right criteria in the search will help you generate the right kind of results. So if you see on my right, the kind of research results my criteria has brought me director level contacts in biotechnology. And then I do the next step of sending invitations. And I do want to take a moment to talk about it. My request is please send a personal note. It should not look like a spam. There are tools out there like LinkedIn helpers and those kind of third-party tools. Please don't use it. It is against LinkedIn's privacy policy. People are using it. I agree on that, but it's not the right way to do it. Sending personal connections, it's a laborious, time-consuming, manual process. But you may not be able to build 1,000 leads, but the 100 leads that you build, the connections that you build, are going to be genuine and correct. And there is more probability of converting them into conversations and relationships than the 1,000 leads that you might have thrown out there. Moving on to the next step, which is very much connected to the third one, which is how can you leverage those contacts and convert them into an email list? So I've been doing it very successfully. I think this is a genuine way of doing it. Once you create new connections, they become your first level connects. And what it means is that you can actually have access to their profile information, whether it's their phone number, their email address, if they are sharing that on LinkedIn, and use that. Why not use that information to make a LinkedIn email list, create a database? Again, the step that I'm showing is a manual step. You actually go on the Connects database and you pull in that information if they've provided it to you, and create an email list. And these are the connects you can further reach out to through your CRM, through your email campaigns, and so on. But again, it is a manual step. My advice is put aside 2 hours a week, build your connections, and create your database. And I think over the period of a month, you will actually see a good quality database being developed. Moving on to more advanced features under LinkedIn. LinkedIn has paid subscriptions, paid features like LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's a great feature, especially for sales teams and professionals who are trying to go towards advanced search. And LinkedIn also allows you to do an in-mail, and I'll share with you how you can do that. Sales Navigator, what you see is, again, provides an ability for much deeper search results. So we use this actively for our clients to create lists, create safe searches to the extent that we can drill down the company size, the functions, and the kind of people who are coming into our net. And by its very nature, the Sales Navigator dashboard is very intuitive. Once you create the search, it saves it for you, and it also adds automatically what it thinks as a good prospect to that list. So a lot of things save you time using this Sales Navigator. The connections feature, when you have to send out connects, it's much more simpler and easier to do using this Sales Navigator feature compared to the regular basic profile. If you see here, these are the list of the connects, from my Sales Navigator. I've created list. I've actually drilled it down based on the industry, on the level of connections, and so on. So every time, and the way you see here, 55 new, these are all being added by the algorithm, LinkedIn's own algorithm. So they are suggesting these leads to me based on my saved search results. Again, I want to stress on the fact, how do you write a great introductory note? Because that is the starting point of building a connection. My request is, my suggestion is, make sure that you do more of a personal note rather than sending an automated invitation. Because when you do a personal note, you will get a much higher response, and chances of fixing a meeting is much higher. And that's been our experience for over a dozen clients. I wanted to just bring the focus on a score, Social Selling Index score. So by doing these 5 key elements, creating a strong LinkedIn profile, focusing on your content to create visibility and virality, using LinkedIn to effectively build leads and contacts, using the email database to further nurture those leads, and lastly, using advanced features if you can, you're actually going to improve your social indexing score. And I pulled up my social indexing score, and to my amazement, my relationship building is bang on mark, but my professional brand clearly needs improvement. But good to know that I fall under top 5% of the network's SSI rank. So this is the rank that I think LinkedIn is using when it shows me as the search result for one of the searches out there. So great way to improve your social selling index on LinkedIn by following these 5 key elements.
Thank you for joining me for this session. Please leave your comments and feedback in the comments box below. You can write to me directly at suchi@puredesignsolution.com. Do visit us at www.puredesignsolution.com. See ya.